Hey everybody, this is Craig from VIII Games, and today I'm going to do a Why I Love, even though I said I was going to do all reviews. That's because I've been getting harassed out the ass by more than one person on this one. So I'm going to do a Why I Love Final Fantasy VIII. Now you guys want me to do a game like this, and you want me to do a Why I Love without any spoilers. I spoil every game that I've done a Why I Love so far. So it's very hard for me not to do spoilers on this because there's a new aspect of the game that I absolutely love that's only appeared this year to me. And it's hard to say it without ruining it. So I'm going to ruin at least the first disc for you. I'm sorry, man. That's just the way it is. There's 3 discs, so 4 discs. You're good. I'll just start off why I love the game. I love the characters of the game. Let's get this music going. Oop, oop. I love everything about this game. I love the music. I love the characters. I love the character development. Mainly, obviously, with Squall is because Squall turns out to be this like cold, brooding, like I don't need anybody attitude, and he turns out to be the hero that you expect from a Final Fantasy game. You know what I mean? When I don't know if I'm saying their names right, so please don't give me shit about butchering their names. Renoa. Whatever her name is. She falls into a coma, and this dude steps up, and he's like fucking crazy about he needs to wake her up. He needs to wake her up. And what's cool about that is that you, as the player, you understand that he likes her, but obviously his outward appearance is, I don't need any chicks in my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's why he grows. I don't know why I did that voice. I'm sorry if I offended any. Never mind. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Okay, so character development is great. The characters just in general are great. I hate Cypher with a passion. I want to choke him to death. I hate Zell. I want to choke him to death. I like Quistis. I like Squall. I like Laguna. I like Ward. That's another thing I like about it too, is that magically you'll be playing the game, and then all of a sudden you'll go inside of Squall's head, and you'll be playing as this character Laguna, who's actually a soldier, and he likes this girl Julia, and it's kind of like the same like cold feet type shit that Squall has, except this guy's a little bit older, a little wiser, and a little more of a man. But then you find out that I just almost gave away something big. You find out why you see him, and it all makes sense eventually. I really just I planned on telling you this when I was like, what am I going to say in the video without ruining anything? I almost just ruined something big for you. Fucking stupid. Anyways, one of Laguna's first scenes actually is when they're coming out of the woods. They go into the bar. When they're going to the bar, and he's seeing Julia playing on the piano, and she plays the song Julia, or Eyes on Me, and I fucking love that song. It's one of my favorite songs in video game history. Really? Is my furnace just turning on? That's one really cool part I like, and that's the point where I started being like, I love the music from this game. It's got a lot of military to it, but the piano sonatas are just amazing. The sonatas are amazing. The other thing I like about it is the story. Obviously, the Final Fantasy tend to have a good story. Come on. I like the story, and I think it was more relatable to me because I'm adopted, and the orphanage, and Ultimecia is an awesome. Well, Ultimecia possesses people. That's actually what puts Renoa in the coma. But, anyways, it all comes full circle, and you'll understand that all these characters know each other. Like, every time I'm talking like that, I'm, like, going into spoiling the game for you. What I was going to say when I spoiled Disc 1, and this is one thing I really love about this game now, is that it's going back and it's making me question. I still want that tattoo, by the way. I used to want that tattoo. I don't know why. 2 people in love, 2 other people who aren't me and somebody else in love on my arm. I don't know why I wanted that. I used to want that tattoo. I kind of still want that tattoo. Pretty badass. Anyways, this is ruining Disc 1. This has popped up this year. I didn't realize there was such a huge conspiracy theory around the story of Final Fantasy VIII. What happens in Final Fantasy VIII that I'm not going to ruin for you happens. But there's one point where the main antagonist shoots an ice shard or glass shard or ice shard or diamond shard through Squall's chest, and he falls off a float. When that happens, people tend to think that everything from that point on in the game is actually what's already happened, and Squall is dying. And then when you get to the end, and I'm not going to ruin the end, but when you get to the end, that's Squall's death. And there's actually like only a matter of seconds that happen in real time, but that whole span of what you played was just like his life flashing before his eyes, or what's going to happen flashing before his eyes. And that's a really cool aspect for me, because now when you go back and play it and you see the points they're trying to make, there's so much like stuff in there that you're like, yeah, I get it. I get why they're saying that. So it kind of puts a little twist on things. It's the only Final Fantasy that I can go back and play and think I got it wrong the first time, like the story, and it's because people did that. And I love it that there's so much hidden stuff in this one. I know every Final Fantasy has a lot of symbology in it, usually relating to religion and relating to politics, and the Final Fantasies that have a large point that deal with like inner demons, inner emotions, inner struggle, just problems within yourself, and it manifests as something else. Those are the Final Fantasies I like best. I think that's why I always bounce between liking 8 and 10, because I feel like those are the most emotionally invested. I know a lot of people are like, dude, one of the saddest moments ever is when Ares dies. No, it's not. It's horrible, horrible. It didn't even look good at the time. I didn't become attached to that character, I'm sorry. I became attached to characters in Final Fantasy VIII because I could relate to them a little bit better. I know every good RPG that comes out of Japan has an orphan as the main character. I get it. I say that to Dan all the time. Ni no Kunai. He's playing Ni no Kunai right now, and I'm like, is there an orphan? He's like, well, no, it's not. I was like, anybody's parents die? He's like, yeah. I'm like, it's a good RPG, right? It's got an orphan. That's just the way it works. Well, this one's got a handful of orphans that live in the garden and their seeds. But yeah, things that deal with those kind of matters, I like the best. Final Fantasy VII was a great game. Don't get me wrong. I would never do a Why I Love video on Final Fantasy VII just because Final Fantasy VII was really politic heavy. You know what I mean? Big corporation politic heavy. And I'm not really one for politics, so I think that's why it didn't appeal to me. But I think it's great that we have such an awesome series like Final Fantasy that rotates out what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, one will be really religious heavy, one will be religion and politic heavy, like Final Fantasy 13, which I didn't like at all. Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 was what? It was basically about religion and political brainwashing. Like, that was the underlying message, I believe. But I really liked 8 because it was just like wrestling your inner demons. And now with this whole other aspect, it was wrestle your inner demons before you die. Get rid of your inner demons, or shake off the asshole that you are before you die so you can die a good death. Like, that's why now with that whole spin on this, that's what I take it as. The Squall is like going through, like seeing the error of his ways, but changing along the way towards the end, sort of like to redeem himself. Because that's the way that I look at it now. That's not the way I looked at it the first time I played it. The first time I played it was just Squall redeemed himself, and then what happens at the end happens. Even though I think I already ruined it for you somewhere in there. But yeah, I do love Final Fantasy VIII, and I would love to obviously see a remake of Final Fantasy VIII. And I would tell you that I didn't think it's popular enough, but Final Fantasy VIII has sold 8.5 million copies. I'm sorry, it has shipped 8.5 million copies. That's a lot for an RPG. That's a huge amount for an RPG. Obviously, 7's got it beat, but 8.5 million copies. Up until Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy VIII was the fastest selling Final Fantasy in the history of Final Fantasies. And granted, it was piggybacking off of 7, that's why it was the fastest selling like that. But still. So it was a record holder up until Final Fantasy 13, which I wouldn't even count in the fastest selling category because Final Fantasy 13 is multi-platform. This was not multi-platform. You're a liar, Craig. This is on PC. That one doesn't count. I really don't think it counts. I don't count the PC version. I actually had the PC version of 8. So yeah, it counts. Fuck. Whatever. I love Final Fantasy VIII, and if you've never played Final Fantasy VIII, get the fuck off my channel. Thank you for watching.